Hey guys. Welcome to Punky's World. Okay, I made the spaghetti sauce last night. It's now on the crock pot. That is to say, the crock is in the pot and the pot is turned on. I did film that, of course. Oh, my leg. What else? I'm not sure. Going to make spaghetti squash. Go with it. Okay. And this is a catfish recipe. Thank you, ChatGPT, for telling me how to cook it. So, yesterday I got my IEP from the Department of Developmental Services, so that's good. That has to get put away. And I have to send back the signed paper. Which is funny because it has to happen again in February. What else? Trying to think. Well, we did decorate for fall yesterday. My leg is absolutely killing me, so I'm using the walker. I can't walk on it. I'm gonna ice it today several times. Just try to bring it down and my friend bought a bigger fun delivered box. Whatever she doesn't want from it, we'll get to go through. So that will be fun. I've got to remember to charge these. I keep forgetting to charge these. Yeah, it's not this. I gotta charge one of these. Whoops. Let me pop this out. There we go. Okay, and what I have to do is charge one of these so that I can use these, or at least experiment with these. So this goes in here. Oops. This love that. I can do either one. Or does this, hold on. I know what it is. You can charge them both at the same time. This doesn't need to be charged because it goes on. Oh, yes, it does. Okay. I love it. You can charge them both at the same time. The receiver and the microphone. With the microphone, I'm going to put this thing on it. Let me pull this out. Now, on the microphone, there's a spot right there where you take this thing and you click it on. So that's good. Now I have to plug this in, which I can do right behind me. Uh-oh. Well, that didn't click on very well, did it? I have to get all the fur away from the plug. Come on. Sorry, guys. That won't go on there, and I really don't need it. So let's plug this in. Okay. Don't need that. And there we go. Both the red lights are on. They will charge. So. Yeah, I won't be using these fluffy things. I don't use it outside anyway. And there is a second microphone. Which I will charge just to have ready. But right now I'm charging one microphone and the receiver. So the other one will wait. Actually, I have a plug right there that would work for it, but I'm not going to bother with it right now. I don't have enough plugs in that plug. Excuse me. I do have enough plugs in the kitchen, however. And if I get everything charged. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong size. That's the wrong size. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. There's one plugged in right here. There we go. There was already one plugged in there that worked. So we'll do that. Now they're all plugged in. Check them later in the day to see if the light color has changed. I guess that's how you tell. And what else? Ugh. It's been a slow daily journal. I do want to cut that spaghetti squash and show you how to deal with it. So let's do that in the next video. And I will see you for that. Please subscribe. I noticed our viewership and people, commenting and stuff is going up. But I've only gotten one subscriber in the last 28 days. Please, if you're watching, just click the button. You know, it would mean the world to me. And I know a lot of creators say that, but I have to tell you, honestly, it would. You know, I don't get political on this channel. I don't. I mean, I will say God bless you at the end of every video. I am a Christian. I am not going to hide who I am. That being said, I'm not a conservative. You know, you think of a Christian as right-wing conservative. I am not. I don't think you have to be a Christian. I'm right in the middle. So, because I'm not liberal and I'm not, excuse me, conservative. So, yeah. It's tough. Where was I going with that? Oh, because I think people think when they know that you're a devout Christian that you're automatically way over on the right, and I'm just not. I personally think both sides go too far. So, I just wanted to tell you that. So you're not scared away from my channel, because I do recognize my Christian faith. I am not. Understand something. I don't wish what happened to Charlie Kirk on anyone, regardless of what side of the line you stand on, or, you know, what your religion happens to be, or whatever. It's wrong no matter what. Now, I have since learned that the young man that did it, his parents were very MAGA. And he was not. And it happened because of that. It's kind of sad. No, it's not kind of sad. It's very sad. I mean, tiny little kids lost their father. A young woman lost her husband. For what? Political differences? You know, I mean, I'm sorry. I may not agree with President Trump, but I can ignore him pretty well. You know? I didn't vote for the dude. So, I wanted our first female president, and still do. And I'm honored to have lived to see our first female vice president. And I'm not a feminist, but I believe that women should recognize our history, should honor our history, you know. Recognize the fact that when my grandmother was born, we didn't have the right to vote. Think about that. That's not that long ago. My grandmother was, let's see, 8 years old when women won the right to vote, when the 19th Amendment was passed. 8. That means her mother never voted in her lifetime until she was, if she ever voted, but wouldn't have been allowed to vote until she was, well, she was born in 1880. 80, 90 is 10. 1900 is 20. 1910 is 30. 29 years old. I was able to vote as soon as I turned 18 because of women in my great-grandmother's generation, and really before them. So really, women in my great-great-grandmother and great-grandmother's generation made it possible for my grandmother to vote when she came of age, for me to vote when I came of age. You know, and for me, that's more important than feminism, you know? And I do believe that regardless of your gender or anything else, you should get the same pay for the same job. My opinion. So I guess in that way I'm a feminist. But I'm not a feminist in the 1970s, burn your bras, 1960s, free love, you know, all that kind of stuff. I do believe that if you're a woman and a parent, that's your primary role. That's how I grew up. My father worked from 50 to 60 hours a week, and my mother was the parent. She took care of the home, she kept it clean, she cooked, and I know people are going to roast me for that. But that's how I grew up. And I grew up in a generation that was just coming into the latchkey kid thing, you know, later in my generation. Like the second half of it, when I was older. I never came home to an empty house until I was in junior high school, when my mother felt comfortable about going back to work again. Because my mother worked here and there, always opposite of what my dad did. My mother would work on weekends, for instance, when she worked, and my dad would work, obviously, during the week and half day on Saturday. When she didn't work, my father worked during the week, zillions of hours, and then he would work a half day on Saturday. Sometimes a full day on Saturday and a half day on Sunday on occasion. And my mom was with me. She taught me. She not only taught me, you know, she taught me math. She taught me reading. She taught me how to diagram a sentence. She also taught me how to cook. She taught me how to clean. You know, she taught me how to do laundry. And I know I'm going to get roasted for that. But those are things everyone needs to learn, boy or girl. A lot of guys live alone. They better know how to do their laundry. They better know how to wash their dishes. They better know how to wash the floor, vacuum a rug, you know. And back then, dads didn't have time to do that. Didn't mean my dad didn't help, because dad washed dishes quite often. My dad vacuumed. My dad helped wash floors. My dad cooked once a week. You know, I mean, it's not my dad folded laundry, you know. It's not that he didn't. It's that it was a mom's job to teach the kids how to do that stuff, whether you're male or female. Because in my day, dads didn't have time to do that stuff. And I remember, and I didn't know this until much later, but one of my friends, her dad was my dad's supervisor. And he came to our little play that we did at Christmas time. And we did it in the library. And I walked up to him. He was sitting next to my mom. Because they knew each other, of course. And I said to him, I said, "You're here. How come my daddy isn't here? How come my daddy can't come to these?" Because I knew he was his boss. And evidently he felt about yay big. And my daddy came to every single one after that. I didn't know that I made him feel about yay big until I was older, grown, and my mother told me, because he talked to my mother. He's, "Oh my God, he's never going to miss another one." I didn't realize how much this meant to her, and thank you, Pop. I don't think Pop's alive anymore, but thank you. It means a lot to me as an adult to know that you took the words of a fourth grader to heart. Because it was fourth grade. It was a little drummer boy thing that we did in our fourth grade class. And it means a lot to me. And I hope he's listening from heaven to know that him taking that little 9-year-old girl's, words to heart meant the world. I'm sorry if you can hear noise outside. You might think I lived in a big city. I actually live in a rural town of less than 10,000 people. But there's a very busy street outside of my front windows. So you'll often hear cars, you'll hear trucks. I just heard a horn, which I think was someone's car alarm. Even with the windows closed, you'll hear it. Not so much in the wintertime once the air conditioner comes out. But you'll still hear it sometimes. So, like I said, I probably live on the second busiest street in the town. Because I don't live on Main Street. I live on a street that's technically behind Main Street. But it's a very busy street because you have to go on it to get anywhere. To any other towns or anything. If you don't take Main Street, you have to take this street. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, even if you want to roast me, be nice. Because I do believe, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. You have to remember that. I may not look it, but I did. First half of my childhood was in the 70s. The rest of it was in the 80s. But by the time the 80s came along, I was 6 years old. So it's, for me, it's the way that I grew up. And it's the way that I wanted to raise my children. With a man that worked, enjoyed working hard, which my father did. My father loved his physical job. He liked working his physical job, his blue-collar job. He never wanted to be the foreman. He was a supervisor, which wasn't his favorite thing in the world to be because he didn't like the idea of hiring, firing, all that happy horse excrement, as he would have said. Only I used a different word. That wasn't his thing. And they wouldn't have allowed it anyway because he didn't have a high school education. And I remember him sitting in his room under the old brass lamp that my My aunt made brass lamps at one time. I think it was when she was studying to be a CNA, I'm not sure. Or in between CNA jobs. And I had one that hung on the wall in my bedroom, and we had one that sat on the dresser in my parents' room. And my father would sit under that one and try to work on a GED, but he just didn't have time. If he did that and worked, he didn't have any family time. It just was never going to work for him. And that's okay. Because I think my father was very, very smart. So he basically worked himself to death. He had to retire because he was hospitalized and could no longer work. And it broke his heart because he enjoyed it. I mean, he didn't do the same job that he did before because they moved the business somewhere else. So, anyway. We're going to go ahead and get the spaghetti squash started. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you shortly. Bye, guys.